This video is sponsored by Gladiator PC because winning matters. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mysterious Mr. Ryan and welcome to the Amazing Maze. Now the Amazing Maze is an idea that was given to me probably about 2 months ago by one of my followers on Twitter, Natalie. She had the idea of putting a sim in a virtually insolvable maze and seeing how they behave, whether the pathfinding would kick in, and basically just a test to see what would happen. Now I was actually really excited by this idea, so I wanted to do something with it, and it's just taken a little bit of time to work on the design and find a time to actually release this video. So as you can see, this is a little bonus video this week. It has come out on a Wednesday, a rare occurrence for me, I know. There will be a usual video on the Saturday as well, but just bear in mind this is a short little bonus video, so I hope you enjoy. So with the maze itself, I wanted to create a nice area in the centre to come to. So this is a kind of a bandstand area. So just with a nice spire roof, a nice area in the middle to come and sit where I'll put down some seats a little bit later. So as we move in, I'm going to start working on the maze. Now as you can tell already, it is a hedge maze. Now I have made a couple of mistakes immediately. Now this is something you're going to see a lot in this build. There's going to be quite a few mistakes. You'll see why very shortly when I put a screenshot up of the guide I'm actually following. But this maze is unbelievably complex. So just bear that in mind. If you do see me make a few mistakes, trust me, it's not through choice. It is simply the maze is that complex. So to actually build this maze, I started off in the corners and worked from all 4 corners inwards and tried to meet in the middle as best I could. I found this was the easiest way for me to actually work this because of the complexity of this build, which you'll see the guide is going to be coming up very shortly with a little splash screen. It's one of those things, it is really hard to build one of these off your top of your head. I did try on a small little map and it kind of works, but the thing you'll find is if you try and build this just straight without using any form of guide, you'll create a nice route to the center which will look very complex but will actually be quite direct and quite simple to solve, and then you'll end up with sort of just this mess of other little shapes and patterns beside it. The big thing with mazes, from what I found, especially with hedge mazes, is you want no consistency. I would love to have put curves and stuff like that in here, but that wasn't an option. But yeah, what you need with this is you need no consistency. You want no patterns, no regularities. You don't want anything that is sort of repetition. You want everything to be random and organic. And I think that's the one thing I think you'll find from this build and hopefully agree with. Now I mentioned earlier, you'll see in a moment as the splash screen comes up now, the guide I was actually using in Excel, and you can see just how complex this maze is. Now a guide, as I said earlier, this is one thing, if you're going to have a go at this yourself, I would really stress that a guide is of utmost importance. If you don't plan for one of these builds, you will walk into a world of problems. Trust me, I tried. It is not fun trying to solve these. In the end, you'll end up bulldozing your entire lot, starting again and regretting the time you've wasted. Now this build itself, as you saw from the complex little Excel splash I just put up there, it actually took me 6 attempts to record. Now this is the most attempts I've actually done on a single video. It's one of those things, if you do it wrong, like cataclysmically wrong, to go back and delete so much is actually a lot quicker to work out. Instead of trying to work out where you went wrong, to just bulldoze the whole lot, which is really painful when you've just sunk an hour and a half's worth of work into this. The final build here you're looking at was originally about, I think it was about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes it actually took me to make. Again, depending on your lot size, depending on the complexity, your mileage may vary, and because I was following a guide it was a lot easier than just building this straight into Excel. But the planning stage itself took me probably about 2 hours worth of planning in the end in Excel, just sitting there drawing designs, playing with different shapes and such, and just working out how I wanted it laid out. So as we move in then, you can see I've just moved into the bottom right corner now. Again, as I said, just working up the sides now to try and meet in the middle is the idea. This way, the big thing with this is if you do it this way, you sort of have to reassert all your focal points, so everything you use as a sort of a point of reference, so for example the corners, the walls, it all changes and you have to reassess everything, which means that it's actually more accurate this way. If you try and work from one corner and do the whole map, what I actually found is if you make one mistake early on, it affects all your measurements later on, but the problem is you don't notice it until like the very end when you start meeting the other corners again. So if you work this way and get them to meet in the middle, you're less likely to make mistakes. There's a little top tip for you. So the hedge maze itself, I opted to use hedge instead of wall. The reason for this is the wall itself was, although it was taller and did actually look better, the problem I had is the wallpaper. To just use plain wall, obviously it was a nasty shade of Battleship Grey. Now I wanted to actually get a sort of a bit of a grassy feel, but unfortunately there is no wallpaper in The Sims that really gave that effect as well as I wanted, so the hedge maze was really the only option I had. Now I know you can actually use the hedge plant tool. I would advise against that though. The reason why is it actually takes up a whole block to use it, and the problem I found with it is that if you start to do your corners very tight, verging on top of each other, you actually end up with a really nasty overall effect, and with that you then run into problems where your Sims can't actually make some of the corners. They're then actually too tight for the Sim, so just again bear that in mind. For anyone who is looking to try and solve this on the fly as I'm building it here, I will say to you now, don't waste your time with this. I designed this maze and built this maze in such a way that the actual starting point and the finishing point aren't clear until the end. So unless you memorise this whole maze, you're not going to be able to spot it very easily. I do however run a sim through this at the very end, so you might be able to pick up a few tricks and traits of how to go through this. Unfortunately, the overall test itself, it depends. It was a success and it wasn't a success. It was a test to see whether the Sims 4 pathfinding engine is actually any good or not. It's pretty much in short what this was an attempt to see. The simple answer to that question is yeah, the Sims 4 pathfinding engine is absolutely amazing. It was able to navigate my maze with absolutely zero problems, and this maze, as you'll see a bit later on, pretty much does several laps of the whole area. I pretty much use the entire 50 by 50 area as best I can, much less of doing just a straight spiral from the outside inwards. The Sim showed no sign of struggling of how to get to the middle. Bit of a shame, I know, but it will be quite interesting because this is actually a park reserve. It'll be quite interesting when people actually come to visit this as a community lot, because with this it'll then mean that you'll actually get multiple Sims in here and they might get stuck. They might start having a chat in the middle of it, which then means any other Sims trying to get around may then run into problems and have to try and readjust their pathfinding. Yeah, it could run into some interesting errors and bugs there, so be interested to try that out a little bit later on. I'm going to have another go with this maze a little bit later on and just see what sort of happens with it. So this video has come out on a Wednesday, an unusual day for me, I know. This is because this is actually going to be a little bonus video. I want to try and increase my uploads, but I don't want to promise they're going to be uploading every 2 weeks, twice a week kind of thing. The reason because of that is with my current work situation and with everything going on with my channel and the amazing sponsors I have, I'm working pretty much flat out as it is to make sure I do everything to such a high standard. So just bear that in mind. That you may see extra random bonus videos, but you'll always see videos every 2 weeks come up on my channel on a Saturday. For those of you who don't know, just while I'm going around finishing the last parts of the maze now, I will be going to Resd in London on the 12th of March. I'm being sent there by my amazing sponsors, Gladiator PC. You'll be able to spot me. I will upload a little picture of me on Twitter in my t-shirt I'll be wearing that will have my channel, along with the sponsorship information for Gladiator PC as well. So please come say hello if you see me there. If you want to take any pictures or get anything signed or just have a general chat with me, please come over, say hello. I'm more than happy to have a chat, and it'll be nice to meet some of you, hopefully. So the maze itself, just as we work on the last parts now, you can see me just placing down the entrances and exits. So just in each corner, these will actually become nice bench seating areas, as you can see now. I'm just placing that down. The idea is each of the corners have just a nice bench, a couple of benches, a couple of lights, and a bin to sort of pretty much relax in. But the actual cooking utensils, along with like a stove, some benches, nice parasols, some nice tables, are all placed in the centre. So it's actually beneficial for your Sims to get to the middle. So here we go, just placing down the couple of grills I spoke about and just a couple of bins, along with some benches opposite the grills, just as a nice place for your Sims to come and sit while they're cooking their food in the afternoon. Just a nice couple of tables placed down with a few standard robust chairs and a few lights just to light up the area, along with some nice lights to suspend from the ceiling as well. And that pretty much concludes the overall build. As we move in now to some glamour shots, what you're looking at here is just a couple of nice panoramic shots of the overall maze and how it's going to look for your Sims. Shortly you'll actually see me put a Sim in. It is me. the sim version of me at least, will actually solve this maze. What I've done with it is I've actually cut lots of the sections out, so anyone looking for the solution, I'm afraid you're not going to find it here, but you will see some tips, as you can see here, just some basic layouts. So just as I let myself loose going through and solving the maze, I just wanted to say this is the Amazing Maze. My name is Mysterious Mr. Ryan. The build itself is available for download on the Sims 4 gallery. Just search for me at Mysterious Mr. Ryan. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, links in the description down below. And don't forget to check out my sponsors, the Amazing Gladiator PC. Again, links in the description down below. This video is coming on Wednesday, and the build will go live on the Sims 4 gallery probably about half an hour after this video is released. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mysterious Mr. Ryan. This has been the Amazing Maze, and I'm out. I'll see you later, and take care.